2 hours outside Antananarivo, this village, a place where knife-wielding men chase down cars and vans. Upon closer inspection, I noticed these men are actually trying to sell something, and they call it Koba.
What's up, squad? Welcome back to Street Food with Senpai. Today we are going to Madagascar to make Koba, one of the most difficult things I've ever cooked. A giant steamed peanut mixture that's cooked for like 3 days underground and sold on the streets with a machete to cut into it. We'll also be making a traditional Malagasy porridge with zebu, which I'll tell you about later, and no, it's not zebra. For the Koba, start with 5 cups of raw peanuts. I got the red skin dudes here, which are significantly cheaper. Roasted at 350 for like 12 to 15 minutes until golden brown and then let it cool. Now comes the fun part, peeling all these peaners. We tried shaking it in a bowl, 5 out of 10, rubbing them in between our hands, 3 out of 10, and then just beating the crap out of it, 7 out of 10. As if peeling them wasn't painful enough, we tried various 200 IQ ways to remove the husks, like placing them in water where a decent amount of it does float to the top. I was foolishly committed to peeling all of these, so we just kept struggling along. Brad suggested that we peel them one by one, which honestly worked the best. It only took an hour of delusional team bonding. But you want to know what the best method was? You don't peel them at all. The texture's totally fine and it actually has a better roasted flavor. Next, you put all your hard work into a food processor and blitz it for 10 to 20 seconds until it resembles a graham cracker crust. Now we just mix it with the brown sugar. We were doing a massive quadruple batch, so we needed the biggest mixing vessel. But at home, just mix 5 cups of peanuts with 3.5 cups of brown sugar, half a tablespoon of salt, and just a splash of water. And kind of surprisingly, this was literally one of the best things I've eaten. I could even taste the hours of peanut peeling. Next, you lie down some butcher swine, followed by banana leaves. Quite a few layers, so when we steam it later, the water doesn't ooze through. After the nanas, sprinkle on a generous amount of rice flour. During the cooking process, it gelatinizes and form a layer of rice dough, kind of like mochi, and it helps insulate everything too. Layer on the moist nuts next, right in the center, leaving like 3 to 4 inches of banana leaves at the end. Build your sandcastle as tight as possible, dust on more rice flour and top with a few more leaves. Find you a good buddy like Brad and tie the ends and the middle to have a rough shape. Then you go through and tie everything else in between. Next, we layer it in a sheet tray that hopefully is big enough. This is a baby Koba too. The legit ones are probably 15 times bigger than this. We didn't have a pot to steam this in, so we tried our best to insulate it in foil, and then I took this to my Airbnb to steam overnight. This thing had to cook for 24 hours, which I wasn't very confident of, so I just prayed to someone.
Rice porridge is a common breakfast in this area. Spice it up with a bit of fried zebu meat and sausage, and this is the Malagasy breakfast of champions.
While the Koba does its thing, we're gonna be making kali sausage for the rice porridge, traditionally made from zebu. Zebu is domesticated cattle native to the Indian subcontinent and other parts of Asia. The closest thing we have in the US is grass-fed beef. Take 1 pound of chuck roast and make long cuts, as they're gonna feed into the grinder easier. Place all that in the freezer to super chill. You want it hyper cold but not freezing. That way the fat doesn't smear and clump up inside the grinder. Set up your mixer with a knockoff sausage grinder attachment, which works perfectly after a few adjustments. Attach the largest grinder die and turn it to the highest speed. Then just start feeding in the beef one by one. After that, feed through half an onion. You're gonna put all that lovely mixture inside of the mixing bowl, along with 3 tablespoons of ginger garlic paste, 1 tablespoon salt, half a teaspoon pepper, half a teaspoon paprika, half a teaspoon cumin, half a tablespoon of coriander, and like 2 tablespoons of water. Whip it with the paddle for like 45-60 seconds for a finer texture. If you like a coarser sausage, you can totally skip the whipping. Next, you slither on those lovely sausage casings that have been rinsed and soaked. You want to tie the end off and then poke a tiny hole before feeding the sausage through.
While the motor's running, you just push the meat through with the plunger. Helps to be tall for this step.
It's better to stuff it loosely because you're going to be twisting it to form links. Once you have all your bangers, twist each sausage in alternate directions and don't grip it crazy tight or it'll bust. When you have all those tied up, set them in the fridge uncovered to both marinate and dry out. While that sausage is chilling, let's make our beef jerky. I got top round here, or any other lean cut works too. Slice it against the grain like 1/4 to 1/6 of an inch. This will make the fibers much shorter and way more tender to eat it. Then add your slices to a mixture of soy sauce, Worcestershire, and spices like garlic and smoked paprika. paprika. Marinate that overnight up to 2 days. Then all you gotta do is just lay it out on a wire rack and cook it at 170 Fahrenheit for around 4 hours until it's mostly dehydrated. The final component of all this is the rice porridge itself. Over medium heat, saute a 1/4 cup of ginger garlic paste for 30 seconds, then add a cup of jasmine or regular long grain rice. Make sure not to wash it too. You're gonna need all that starch to help thicken up the porridge. Add 4 cups of water and a tablespoon of salt to start. Cook over medium heat for like 30 to 35 minutes. During this time, the rice is gonna burst and release more of its starch. At the end, just give it a taste and adjust any seasonings and add more water if you want it looser. Now that the rice is done, we'll peep in on our sausage. We're gonna par cook this in the oven at 350 for 10 to 12 minutes.
And then you just let it cool.
As that sausage is cooling, the juices redistribute as opposed to busting out, keeping it moister, similar to resting a steak or double frying chicken. After resting for a good 20 minutes, we'll go ahead and grill them boys up. We're essentially just warming it back up and then adding a smoky char to it. Man, look at that. Tell me that ain't a juicy ween. Set the bangers aside and we'll check in on this Bucky's jerky. You want it mostly dry but still pliable. Chop up some garnishes like scallions and spicy red chilies and we're ready to plate up. First goes the rice, then the meats, and then we'll put the more colorful garnishes right up on top. Can't beat that after a long night of ice cream, tequila, and sausage wrangling. Super dope contrast of flavors and textures, especially from that beef jerky. If you buy your own meat, this is a super simple, very hearty dish to make. And I don't want to brag, but we probably could have picked a spicier chili. But it's time for the moment of truth now, Koba time. After 16 hours in the oven, it does look like it's burnt to shit. But hold on, dude, let's peep the magic inside. And it's also burned on the inside. I'm gonna have to give the oven method a F-. We did have to try it though, just in case, and it tasted very hard. A lot of failures and a lot of lessons I learned. I did want to redeem myself, so we went ahead and purchased a giant pot and then steeped another Koba on another day for 26 hours. And holy moly, I was super skeptical, but this actually worked. Honestly, it probably could have gone another 12 hours, but that flavor of redemption was delicious. The peanut and the rice mochi was texturally super fun, and all of it had a very heavy banana leaf aroma. Nailed it on my first try, as usual. Let me know in the comments what country we should be going to next.